Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting adventure of Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host for today, and we are going to be discussing a movie that Krol has, our good friend Krol here, has put forward for us to discuss. It is a film from 1994. It is directed by none other than Quentin Tarantino, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, Thurman, Quentin Tarantino himself, among others.
Harvey Keitel.
Uh, Definitely a lot of people, including Bruce Willis and I believe Eric
Stoltz.
Who it's definitely
When I
an
bring an overdose for fucked up bitch to your house, I'll give her the needle.
but let's see what IMDb says about the film. IMDb says the lives of two mob hitmen, a boxer, a gangster and his wife, and a pair of diner bandits intertwine in four tales of violence and redemption. So, first impressions. Going with you, Kroll, since this was your pick. Why don't you tell us? Was this a first time watch for you?
No. The first time I saw it, I actually watched it with my mother. I don't know, whenever it came on TV. And my first impression was, what did I just watch? I did have some scenes that I enjoyed. My mother hated the movie. Don't think she ever saw it again. I, on the other hand, watched it again, and then I was like, "Oh, I think I got it." I have since watched it probably a dozen times. Love the movie. It's just great, great lines in it. Especially Jules, which hence the name Jules, badass motherfucker. I love that scene with the wallet. Which wallet is yours? The one that says badass motherfucker. Pulls it out. Badass motherfucker. um, the whole movie just fun. Once you realize that it's skipping around and you understand that the timeline in it is not linear, then you can enjoy the movie. Which is why I recommend watching it at least twice to fully grasp the movie. He got that Quentin Tarantino's inspiration. I can't remember his name, but he's another guy that does crazy stuff that you gotta watch his movies a few times. So yeah, it's a really fun movie. Definitely my favorite of his movies, and I actually knew who the director was on this one once. And the cast is just unbelievable cast, and it was really, 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 really fun movie in my opinion.
Okay. Is that it for your first impression then?
Yes, it is.
Alrighty. Heading over to you, Tammy. Was this a first time watch for you?
No, but I don't remember exactly when I watched it. I know it was probably not long after it came out. And I was with people that, we're all gung ho. I remember that on watching it. And I remember the first time I watched it, I really didn't like it. Um, Probably because, like Kroll said, it's something that you kind of need to watch a couple times, you know, but I didn't get that then. But rewatching it now, it was all right. It can be a little confusing, but once you realize that there's like different chapters going on, then it's like, oh, okay, no, I got it now, So it was, it was entertaining. I mean, when I knew that that one was the one that was up, I was like, oh, but it was, like I said, it was more entertaining this time. I don't know if it was just the timing was wrong the first time or what,
Well,
you
this
know.
was your second watch, right?
Yeah.
That's why. Like I said, I wasn't sure I liked the movie the first time I watched it because I was more like, what did I just watch? Like trying to figure it out, you know.
It
So
was many years ago when I watched it the first time, but still,
yeah,
it just,
it clicked for you this time.
yeah, it wasn't as bad as I was anticipating because I was thinking about the last time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's one of those movies that it really doesn't come into its own until the second time you watch it. You know, it's just. I mean, I don't know anyone that's watched it the first time and got it. You know.
yeah, but that's it.
Okay. Heading over to you, Boris. Now you're in the hot seat. So was this a first time watch for you?
Actually, much to my shame, yes, it was the first time I watched it. Although I did hear about the movie before, but I'll be honest, since it's 2.5 hours long, that's why I've never taken the time to watch it until today. Usually, when a movie is that long, I go for it only if it's a part of a franchise that I'm really interested in, or if it's dealing with some topic that I am generally interested in. So this is one that I didn't watch before, which I know it's a shame because I know it's a classic. But yeah, now first impressions. Before I went to watch it, Krol told me it was confusing and out of chronological order, and he did say I should watch it at least twice to understand it. And now I couldn't make the time to watch a movie this long twice. So before I watched it, I read the plot on Wikipedia in order to understand it better. But yeah, I see the movie
Even
has
though
some.
Wikipedia has it a little like discombobulated. They had a hard
uh,
time describing it.
I guess, yeah. So I guess I more or less did understand the story when I had on mind that it wasn't in chronological order and stuff, but I'll admit it was still a little difficult to watch, and I see it has some humor in it, which I guess there are people who would find it funny, but to me personally, it wasn't quite my cup of tea. No offense to anyone, no disrespect. I know many people like this movie. I'm sorry I wasn't able to enjoy it that much, maybe, as Krol says. If I got to watch it for a second time, maybe I would enjoy it better. Who knows?
I,
Um,
I think you would.
Mm,
I really think you
pos-
should watch the second time.
Possibly.
Like I
and
said,
whereas
I've seen it a dozen times. So
Wow.
myself,
That's
oh, you were saying
uh,
something?
yes, I'm sorry. I was going to say that's about the number of times I watched my favorite movies of all time. None of them is over 2 hours.
Yeah. So my introduction to this was when I actually did pick up a copy of it on DVD. I remember the hype about it. I remember that between this movie and Reservoir Dogs, uh,
which I've
those
never seen.
movies kind of like put well Reservoir Dogs was filmed 2 years earlier than this, so
I thought it was after.
nope, it was before. Um, but yeah, so these are the two movies that I feel like put Quentin Tarantino on the map. And from what I understand, there was a lot of hype about this movie at the time. I just didn't get a chance to watch it at the time that it came out. I remember I was in grade school at the time, but I still heard some buzz about it. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was like kind of like the thing at that point in time, to go see him in a movie, and he still is. I mean, he brings a lot to a
He's a
movie
badass motherfucker.
but I did not understand this movie the first time I watched it, and the second time I watched it, I started to get it a little bit more. The third time was for our show. I believe we actually did cover this. Um, Pretty sure we did. If we didn't, we should, because it is a cornucopia of a film, and it's a different narrative because it does like take place over the course of four different stories, and it's it's hard to describe because I like certain scenes from it. I like gangster films, and it is kind of more of a gangster film than it is a hitman film, because it's kind of like you see a different side of like the underground, where you know it starts in the diner, where you see this couple.
Honey money.
They're having a breakfast, and it seems like a relatively normal conversation. They're
Normal,
even
except
nice.
they're talking about robbing bank.
Yeah, and she's
The
even
guy
nice.
robbed. Yeah, he said that the guy robbed a bank with a phone, and said that they have the little girl and they'll hurt her if they didn't give the money. And he's like, "Do they hurt the little girl?" He goes, "I don't know. They might not have been a little girl. The point is, they robbed the freaking bank with a cell phone." So you want to rob banks? No, I don't want to rob banks. I'm just saying we could. So what then? 9 to 5 jobs?
And I
Not in this
think
life.
I think the thing that this film has going well for it is that when you have the characters that are, supposedly the bad guys in here, they're having like these bullshit conversations, like about different things while they're like going to fuck up some people and stuff like that, and it's some interesting dialogue.
Oh, it's great dialogue, yeah.
But this couple ends up standing up and starting to rob the place, and that's when it goes.
Listen, all you motherfuckers, I didn't want to get moved, and I'll blow every one of your heads off.
Yeah, one thing I found funny about it was the whole robbery thing going on, and Vincent just being on the toilet having no idea what's happening.
True, but
Well,
that's actually later, though.
that we find out way later.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, but it's a part of that
Oh, we
story.
know. It's a confusing movie even to discuss because
Yeah,
it's like
story.
it's
then it
not a
goes
poem.
because then it goes backwards,
Yep.
and we have Vincent and Jules, who are hitmen for a man by the name of Marcellus Wallace,
Well,
I believe.
yeah, Ving Rhames.
Played by Ving Rhames, also known as Kingpin.
He was a good kingpin.
In Elektra, which unfortunately some people actually he was in Elektra and he was in Daredevil because those two kind of go together in a sense.
Yeah.
Sort of that period of whatever. But
It was a sequel, kind of, because I mean it left off where she was in the Daredevil, and then her story continued where it's had started, from the end of Daredevil. So it was
now,
a sequel, just
were those
without Daredevil.
DC or were those Marvel? I thought those were DC, correct?
No,
I
Marvel.
think
Okay, Marvel. Okay. Well,
Really?
in any case,
You're one of those people?
well, they're not part of the MCU. That's for sure. At
Yes,
least,
they are.
well, they haven't connected those to
Yeah,
the
they
MCU.
are. On the Netflix shows.
I
I'm
don't
sorry, you
know.
don't have streaming sites. You don't know about Netflix. Netflix is a streaming site
I
where they
have,
have shows.
but I don't wait for Netflix. I wait for when it comes onto a disc, and then I go
Well,
and
you're
watch.
not gonna get it on disc because it's a
I'm not
Netflix show. It's a Netflix show. You're an
but in
idiot.
any case, no, I'm just
Yeah, it's not gonna be on disc. It was a Netflix show. Original. They don't put originals on disc.
They've
oh,
put Daredevil on disc.
Did they?
Yes,
Well, it probably took them quite a few years to do it.
probably.
oh yeah, that reminds me. Since the Lucifer show moved from Fox to Netflix, we have the Netflix seasons never come out on DVD. I know the first three seasons did. Not sure about the other three, which were on Netflix.
Well, anyways, going back
Mm.
to the storyline, apparently, there something has happened to where someone was thrown out of a window,
Slow down.
and it
Rocky
has something
Horror.
to do with
But
with
you're
Mia.
skipping the car scene.
Okay, well, am I skipping?
The car scene. They were in the car, and he was talking about his trip from Amsterdam. He just came back from Europe, and talking about how pot is legal to have, legal to carry. It's illegal, but it's not. You gotta smoke it at home or designated areas. Basically, the way pot is legal now in the U.S., but it was way ahead in Amsterdam. And then he's talking about the craziest things are the little things like in Holland, they put mayonnaise on the French fries. They cover that shit. So he's seen them.
And they call it
And
cheeseburger Royale.
you can get a beer in at McDonald's and a beer at the movie theaters, and the quarter pounder with cheese is called a quarter pounder because of the metric system, and they call it a Royale with cheese, and they call the Big Mac Le Big Mac.
Man, you really doctored that movie.
What was that?
I said you really doctored that movie, like you really know it well.
Like I said, I've seen it a dozen times.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, they're about to show up to some people who had something to do with this incident where um, I'm not entirely sure.
They got some heroin from Marcellus Wallace. I assume to sell, and they decided that they wanted to keep it and then sell it and cut him out or somehow. I'm
So
not sure
that's what was in
exactly.
that's what was in the suitcase, Tammy. You were
Yes,
wondering
heroin.
what was in the suitcase.
Yeah, it's heroin.
Ah,
So why does it have like this gold? Like every time you open.
Because Vincent and the other guy looks at it like, well, Vincent obviously he did heroin, so to him it was like wow, and like exciting to him. So it's like gold in his eyes, or
Oh,
it was more of a representation
uh,
than
well,
actuality.
if I remember correctly, Vincent wasn't even standing that close to the briefcase when it was opened.
He opened it.
Wasn't that Jules?
No, Vincent opened it. Jules was
Vincent.
Jules had his gun on Brett.
Yep.
Oh, o-
And
okay,
remember,
I'm sorry.
No
he
problem.
ate his cheeseburger and drank his soda in front of him, and then he shot
Well,
the dude on the couch.
let's not forget the whole talk. I mean, he's he's like, oh, what are you having for breakfast? Cheeseburgers, cheeseburgers, the cornerstone to any nutritious breakfast. What kind of cheeseburger? Burger King, McDonald's, Big Kahuna, Big Kahuna. I always wanted to try one of those. And never had a chance to.
That's
Mm,
one of those Hawaiian burgers, isn't it?
yeah, that Hawaiian joint. Yeah, yes. Do you mind if I have some? Go ahead. This is a tasty burger. I love burgers. I can't really get them myself because my girlfriend, she's a vegetarian, which basically makes me a vegetarian. But I do love a tasty burger.
Yep. And so I believe that there's a guy against the door behind them who's seems to be cowering,
Yeah,
and
Marvin.
yeah, and then this dude on the couch,
Yeah,
which evidently for no reason at all except to um, basically
illustrate they mean business.
terrorize Brett. He shot him and killed him,
Yeah.
and then he did this speech from Ezekiel 25.
Well, first he asked, you know, what Marcellus Wallace looked like. What? What does Marcellus look like? What country are you from? What ain't no country I ever heard from? English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? Yes. What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What? Say what one more goddamn time. What does Marcellus look like? He's black. Go ahead. He's big. Does he look like a bitch? What? Shoots him in the shoulder. Does he look like a bitch? Then why are you trying to fuck him like a bitch, Brett? I forgot one. I forgot one thing too. He said he mentioned the what do you call a quarter pounder in France, and he says I
Oh,
don't know. He says Royale with
no,
cheese, and then he asks why. He goes, I don't know, metric system. Oh, check out the big brains on Brett. I love that
now
line.
that now that I think about it, he asks, "Does Marcellus look like he wants to be fucked like a bitch?"
Yeah,
And
does he want to be
later,
fucked like a bitch? No, because
he-
Mrs. Wallace doesn't want to be fucked by anybody but Mrs. Wallace.
he- yet
I
later
didn't.
on
I didn't
here,
fuck him. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. This is a little passage I like from Ezekiel.
this is what he tells him from Ezekiel 25 verse 17. I will carry out great vengeance on them and punish them in my wrath.
No,
that
he
was a
didn't say. He
longer
didn't.
line.
Yeah, he didn't say it like that either. Not even
But
close.
actually, I remember when I was reading the Bible, these references in Ezekiel, they are not the same in every version of the Bible.
He
Uh,
actually says it differently 3 times in the movie too. And I'll
uh,
strike down with furious vengeance those who strike something of poison my brethren.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill,
For you will know my name is the Lord when I strike my
shepherds the
vengeance
weak
upon.
through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children.
But he
And I
doesn't
will
say it
strike
all
down
until the
upon thee
diner
with
scene.
great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Now he doesn't say it all until the diner scene, and he says strike vengeance in this scene. Like I said, he changes it 3 different times. He does it. So
Well, and then they both blow holes into Brett, and they don't necessarily show that them killing him, but off screen you're expected to.
yeah, you do. You see them shoot him. He has holes in his chest. Pretty much kills him.
Well, I didn't see that. I
You
thought it
need to
was.
watch it again. And Marvin's over there cowering in the corner, like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Well, in front of the door.
Yes.
And then they decide that they're gonna take Marvin with, that they're gonna get out of there. Well, first, Drew's like, oh, no, never mind, that was later.
And
Right.
in the next scene is when we first see Bruce Willis's character as
So,
Butch.
yep, talking to Marcellus Wallace.
Yep, he's talking to Marcellus, and he's basically giving him a thing of money and saying, "Are you my man?"
Yeah,
Basically,
he wants him to throw the fight because
he
he's
wants
saying
to
he's getting
throw a
too
fight.
old, and that he's out of his prime. He was going to make it. He would have made it by now, and he doesn't have too many fights left. So take his payday now and retire. And he's like, "Are you my man?" And he's like, "Certainly appears so." And and he tells him that when you get to the fight, you'll feel this thing in the back of the neck, and that's pride. Fuck pride. You know. Just you gotta fight through that shit, and just basically tell them that you gotta throw the fight and not worry about pride. Um, and that's when we see Vincent and Jules walking into the bar wearing
Couple of
these
t-shirts.
ridiculous shorts and t-shirts that everyone makes fun of. um, yeah, and they're sitting there watching Marcellus Wallace have the conversation, and then I don't know where Jules went, but Jules went somewhere, and
Yeah, and I believe
Vincent's at the bar, and then Butch comes over, and he looks at him. He's like, "Are you looking at something?" He's like, "No, I'm not." Kaluka, I think he called him. Um, and then he's like, "You heard me," and called him something else, which I forgot what it was. I guess it's some kind of derogatory remark towards his heritage or something. I don't know. I never heard those remarks before. And then he's looking at him like he's gonna fight him, Butches, and then Marcellus Wallace goes, "Is that Vincent Vega, my nigga?" And he
there's
comes
also a
over and
there's
they
also
give him a
a
hug.
date that was mentioned that Vincent is supposed to be like taking
Oh yeah, take Marcellus Wallace, his
his
wife
wife
out,
up.
Mia Wallace, and yeah, they asked if he see what she looks like, and he's like, "No, I never seen her," and they both laugh, and they're like, "Good luck." He's like, "Listen, I'm not stupid. I'm gonna take her out. I'm gonna sit across from her. I'm gonna laugh at her jokes, and I'm gonna take her home."
And so in the next scene, I believe he goes and sees a drug dealer who just so happens to be Eric Stoltz, and he's got like this long ass hair, and he looks like he lives in his grandmother's basement.
But he lives in a nice house with his wife and her friend, is staying with them. So he may look like it, but he he's actually doing well from selling heroin, I assume, and of course his wife has all kinds of pierces on her face,
Yeah.
and so they go in and he shows the heroin to him. Is this is such brand, this is the other brand, and they're both $300 a gram, and he says, but this stuff.
Got this whole big wad of cash like that he's sitting with.
Then he well the strange thing is he has 1,500, which is the exact same amount that Jules had as well. So yeah, not sure why, but yeah, they both have the same amount of money. And anyways, he says, then we have this stuff. I forgot the name of it, but he says this stuff is 500 gram, but when you shoot it, you will know where the other money is going, and he said the other stuff is fine, it's great stuff, man, but this stuff will put you on another level.
And I'll even give you some from my own personal stash.
Because that's the kind of guy I am. And he says, I'll buy 3 grams, and if it's as good as you say, I'll come back and buy another 1,000. Which we never see him actually do, but.
And then of course, he says, "Hey, did you want to stay around and hang with my wife's friend here? She's
Trudy.
single, kind of lonely."
Yeah, Trudy. Which one's Trudy? The one with all the stuff on his face? No, that's Jody.
Oh man, that's my wife.
And then they both laugh. And then he says, "No, I got something to do." And then he asks if he can shoot up there. He's like, "Mi casa, su casa." And then you see him like shooting up with this. He's got this fancy needle in a little leather bag.
And then of course you see him driving his car in front of a screen, which you can now tell. In this day and age, you can tell it was a screen that he was driving in front of.
I don't pay attention to that shit, so I didn't notice. But like I said, I like to merge into the story and not look for flaws. I see flaws, but I overlook them.
I didn't notice either.
Yeah. You too busy trying to figure out the movie.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said you were too busy trying to figure out the movie still.
I noticed because I know what it looks like when they're driving in front of a screen. Not that I
do too. I just don't like to. I train myself not to look.
But that's kind of why I like the reason why this film is called Pulp Fiction, because it does have a noir feel to it, like a detective thing going on, almost when it comes to the car scenes sometimes.
Yeah.
And so he shows up at apparently the Wallace's fortress or whatever. I call it a fortress.
Oh shit! We forgot the fucking scene where they were talking about Rocky Horror. Big Samoan that Marcellus Wallace threw out the window, or had his guys throw out the window, supposedly because he gave her a foot massage. And this is Wallace's foot massage.
The whole massage conversation between him
Vincent is saying that that he shouldn't have put his hands on his wife, and that the foot massage was as bad as is not as bad as eating pussy, and Vince Jules is like it's not even the same ballpark, it's not even the same league, hell's not even the same game, as eating pussy, and they're arguing about it, and then Vincent's like, well, there's always that subtle thing between that a guy knows that he's touching the feet and it's sensual, and the girl knows it. It's just unsaid. And Marcellus knew it, and Rocky Horror should have better well known it. And Jules was like, well, yeah, I guess in that point, yeah, he did overreact, but they're saying that Rocky Horror, which was his
Yeah, it
nickname.
sounds like Marcellus Wallace just got a big jealous streak in his body and just threw this Rocky Horror dude over
Yeah, over, out the window, through a garden glass thing, and the motherfucker has a speech impediment now, but he's still alive. So he really killed him.
the.
But, yeah, 4 stories they throw him out. Big Simone guy.
But in any
Um,
case, he
yeah,
shows
so
up
go
at
ahead.
the Wallace fortress. He comes into this like
There's a
nice.
note on the door that says,
Yeah,
"Vincent, come in. Have yourself a drink. I'm getting dressed. I'll be down later, Mia." And then he walks in, and then you see her in like a recording room or something, and she's looking at him and her whole apartment, and then she gets on the intercom and says, Vincent, over here on the intercom, and tells him where the intercom is. You can
it's
tell
like that whole place is set up for her erotic adventures.
yeah, and you can tell he's fucked up the way he's acting. You can tell he's still fucked up from the heroin. It's never mentioned, but yeah, you can tell he's still fucked up. And she tells him that where the comm is, and then he's like, "Hello, hello," and she's like, "You gotta push the button if you want to talk." And then he pushes the button and talks to her, and she tells him the same thing she said in the note to go get himself a drink, and she'll be down in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And they just show her mouth and her ruby red lips, and basically, showing how very sexual she is. And
That's one thing. Quentin Tarantino is very good at directing close-up shots of different things, close-up shots and far-away shots too. Because when they were doing the whole foot fetish conversation, it was at a distance, and you could still hear what the fuck they were saying.
yeah,
It-
yeah, it was great. Yeah, it's definitely great the way they did. I mean, you still haven't even seen all of Mia yet. You saw the back of her head, and then you saw her lips, and that's about all you've seen of her so far. And then he goes get a drink, and then she comes down, and he sees her, and of course she's fucking banging hot. You if you like Uma Thurman, I don't like her hair. I thought the hair was horrible.
she's got well. Tammy thought that John Travolta's hair was terrible.
I don't like Vincent's hair at all. No.
I
I thought
agree, Tammy.
I thought it fit him. So I thought
The only
I
time
thought
his hair looks decent is when he puts it in that little ponytail.
yeah, the ponytail's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of fitting for his character. But yeah, I mean, Mia's was fitting for her character too. But I still didn't like it. It was way too much, and I just don't think she pulled it off that well. Although I do believe Uma Thurman is gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. More than Poison Ivy.
Oh,
But yeah, she's gorgeous. But here I definitely hated her hairstyle. But anyways, they go
I
to a
loved her as
restaurant, and they pull up
What was
to
the name of the
this,
restaurant? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was damn.
Jimmy something.
What is it?
I think it was called Jimmy something.
Think with your dipstick, Jimmy.
No, it was like Skip or something, or
I was joking.
yeah, yeah. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but it was this 50s joint that you go in, and everyone's dressed as different Hollywood stars, and the whole place is like a dance place, and you can go sit in vintage cars and
Jack Rabbit Slim's restaurant.
okay, yeah, there you go. And then they sit, and their waiter comes over, who is looks like Buddy Holly. he says, I'll be your waiter, buddy, and he takes their order, and she orders a $5 milkshake, and he goes, a $5 milkshake? That's milkshake, milk, and ice cream. There's no liquor in it or anything, no rum in it, no sir. So it's a $5 milkshake, okay? So he's kind of flipping out over spending $5 on a milkshake.
Well,
He spent 1,500 on heroin, but
the other thing that I noticed is that this whole scene is like littered with like classic like actors and actresses from like bygone era.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, and then they say that she says there's two Marilyn. Well, after she came back from the bathroom, she says that there's two Marilyn Monroes. Um, And he says, no, there isn't. He says, that's Marilyn Monroe. And then the other woman, I forget what he said, was, and she goes, oh, you're pretty smart. He goes, I have my moments. Um,
Well,
now,
yeah, when she
that
went to
brings,
the bathroom to powder her nose, she definitely
yeah,
powdered her
she
nose.
powdered her nose, which literally meant she snorted coke.
did you
Um,
notice all the other ladies who were in there trying to make sure that they were spick and span?
yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, she's doing coke right in front of all those women. Like, no one says a damn thing, but like,
Wait, didn't she snort heroin instead of coke?
no,
No, that was
no. No, you're not
Uh,
supposed. You can't snort heroin, which is why she OD'd later.
but ah, oh, so you are talking about her snorting
yeah.
before that?
Right,
Oh,
She
right.
was
oh,
snorting
She
cocaine,
snorted the coke,
but
and
we
then she
have
goes back to the table, and they have that
they
discussion.
yep, and then there is basically a dance competition.
Hold on. You're skipping ahead again. He asked her about Rocky Horror, about what he heard, and if it was true or not, and she's just like, you scamps are worse than a knitting group with gossip and stuff. Says, I don't know why he threw him out the window, but it had nothing to do with him touching her feet. He's never touched anything except for her hand at her wedding. So um, she completely denied that that whole thing would ever happened at all, and was amused that that's what he had heard. Of course, he had said, I got to ask you something and promise not to be offended. And she goes, well, I can't do that. You may tell me my natural instinct might be to be offended, therefore breaking a promise. Besides, isn't it better when you don't have permission? Um, so she's an interesting character, for sure. Um, and she tells him that she was. He mentions the pilot, and she tells him yes, she was in the pilot, and that it was called Five Fox Force, um, Fox Five Force. I'm sorry, because Fox because they're all foxy ladies, Force because they're force to be reckoned with, and five because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they all had different specialties, and hers was knives. And according to the show, she was the deadliest woman in the world with knives. Um, and then the dance scene, like you said, and he says no, he doesn't want to dance, and she assumes he can dance and can dance well, which I thought was funny because I'm like, how did she know he can dance or even dance well? Well, I mean, we all know John Travolta can, but
Yeah,
so they get up there and they do their dance, and of course we see them dancing somewhat, doing the swing and some other 50s type dancing and the twist and stuff like that. And both were good dancers. Uma Thurman's a good dancer as well. And we see them coming back to her place, and she's holding the trophy.
yeah.
Um,
He needs to take a piss, and while he's in trying to figure out what to say and how to leave,
yeah,
uh,
because
she
obviously
evidently
he's super
crossed.
attractive and he wants to fuck her, but it's his fucking.
He had she had palmed his stash
Well,
from
hold on. She's wearing his jacket, and she puts music on and she's dancing, and then she goes and sits down. She goes in and she goes into her jacket and pulls out a lighter and she lights her cigarette, and then she goes to put the lighter back, and then she pulls out the bag and she's holding it and just at first, and then she looks at it and she's like, oh, what do we have here? And she thinks it's Coke. Okay, so this is what happens. She thinks it's Coke, because Coke you can snort, heroin you got to shoot up. So she takes a line of the Coke and immediately overdoses. And of course, he's still in the bathroom trying to convince himself that he's just going to go home and jerk off, and that's it.
Well, yeah, and
So
he immediately realizes what has happened, and then you see him driving in that classic car, and he starts to call his drug dealer friend. He's
on the cell
ignoring.
phone,
Uh,
he's ignoring the phone. Yep. Until his wife says the phone's ringing. Yep, I hear it. I thought you told this motherfucker not to call it.
that's what I'm about to
I
tell this
I did,
motherfucker.
and that's what I'm about to tell this motherfucker. And then he gets on the phone, and then he tells me, like, wait, are you on a cell phone? Wrong number, God. Who are you? Wrong number. He hangs
And
up, and then he comes out, and Vincent just crashes in, goes over his line, crashes into some trash barrels, I assume, and pulls me out. He's like, flipping out, like, what the fuck are you bringing this fucked up bitch here for? He's like, this fucked up bitch is Marcellus Wallace's wife. He's like, you can't keep her here. Well, if she dies, man, I'm dead. Hell, we forced to tell him that you had her on the lawn and you didn't help her. So they pull her inside, and he's telling his. She's like going, "What the fuck's going on?" He's like, "Who the hell's that?" And he's like, go get my needle. Go get my the fucking needle, whatever
medical.
needle it's called. And then he goes to says he's got to go to get a medical book. We need a medical book. I've never done this before. Why haven't you done this before? Because I never need it. Because my bitch is gonna handle this shit. He's like,
So he
we'll go
goes
get
to
it. We'll go get the needle. Well, I'm going to get the book. We'll go get it. Well, you still talking to me? He goes in this room. He tries to find it. His wife comes back. Says, what are you looking for? My medical book. I didn't know you had a medical. I do. A little black medical book. Well, come on, she's dying. And he just says, forget it. And they decide to figure it out. And they're like, you gotta plunge it. You gotta. He goes in like a stab motion. I can stab him 3 times. No, man, just once. But because he's strong, strong enough to go through punch through the bone. He finally gets the. He tells. He has the wife get the magic marker, and he marks it, and he plunges it down. They're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen? She's gonna pop it out? I don't know." Kind of excited to see myself. This is serious. They plunge it in, and she immediately pops open. With his
Okay,
dick
yeah,
stuck
that's
out
Yeah,
of
but
her, stuck out of
I
her
remember
chest.
you saying something about the car when it crashed. What did you say?
Spudao.
Well, no, but I didn't say
And
that. I'm
she
like, he
she
crashed a nice car.
she pops up, and and the needle sticking out of her chest, and she's just looking there like what the fuck, and the wife's like, wow, that was trippy. You know?
Well, yeah,
First
he
few
was
times I
entertained
saw
by
that
the
scene,
whole thing.
I saw that scene, I was like, ah, it just like freaked me out. Now the needle doesn't bother me. The scene is kind of a great scene now. But yeah, it bugged me. I did not like seeing the needle stuck out of her chest like that. It freaked me out. But yeah, and then of course, see him driving her home, or at home, and she's going in the house, and she's has different clothes on, um, and which I don't know where the clothes. I guess she got it from Tree or something. I don't know. And then Vince's like, "How do you want to handle this?" And she's like, "Well, how do you want to handle this?" And he's like, "Well, if Marcellus Wallace goes his whole life without knowing this, I think that would be a good thing." And she agrees with him, and she's like, "You can keep a secret. I'll be in trouble just as much as you. I can keep a secret if you can." And he's like, "I can keep a secret." Um, and then she goes. He starts to walk away, and he's like holding his chest, and she's like, "You still want to hear that joke?" And he's like, "I, I'm I." I'm still too afraid of having a heart attack to be able to laugh. He goes, well, you're not gonna laugh. It's not funny. Which I actually thought was funny. I did laugh. Then she tells him the joke of that she was supposed to say on the show. That there's puppet tomato, a mama tomato, and a baby tomato. The baby tomato starts lagging behind, and a puppet tomato goes over to the little tomato and smacks him and says, "Ketchup." Which is
Yeah,
how I found out Boris never seen this movie because I was saying that to him, and that's when he told me he never saw the movie, and that's when I decided to pick this movie. So,
uh, yeah, I
I
have
remember
to
Tammy
admit.
laughing at that little ketchup joke for a moment.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
y-
I like
y-
corny jokes, so
It
yeah,
was
I
so
found it.
stupid. It was funny.
yeah, exactly. That's what corny jokes are. It's
Yeah,
stupid and
yeah.
funny. You know?
Uh, I was, as some of you know, I was a huge fan of this YouTube series, The Annoying Orange. This joke just reminds me of that.
Cool.
Well, in any case, after this is when we get. I believe it's in the next scene that we get the moment where is it where we actually see Christopher Walken give him the
Yes,
gold watch.
yes. Where he
Okay,
tells them that,
that is great. I
yeah.
think Christopher Walken's moment was great because
Oh, it's awesome. He
tells him
walks in in
he
a
tells
full
this little kid
uniform.
about this gold watch being up his ass.
Well, let me tell you the whole thing. So he
He
walks in.
also tells him about fucking wars and stuff.
So so he tells him that he's in this horrible war with which I think was Vietnam. I'm assuming I don't think they said it, but um, he's in the war with hell with his father, and the watch was first made by his great grandfather, and he had the watch made, and he after World War I, he put the watch up on a mantle until his son, his grandfather, was old enough. Was going to war, called on, and he gave him that watch for good luck. And unfortunately, it wasn't good luck for him because he died. But he had some guy give his infant son, the kid's father, the watch, which he did. He kept his word and he gave him the watch. And then his father was called, and he wore the watch. And of course, he didn't have so much good luck either, and he died. And but he made him promise to bring the watch to his son, and he put he hid the watch so no Gook would get his hands on his son's legacy. It's the watch, and so he sticks it up his watch for 5 long years, and he dies of dysentery. And then Christopher Walken says he stuck this uncomfortable watch up his ass for 2 years, and now I give it to you. And I was thinking, and the kid just snatches it. Man, I would not be just snatching that fucking thing that was up people's ass. I don't care if it was a little kid or not.
Right?
But
There
he
is
just
no
then we
telling how
see
much disease that watch was by the time it got to him.
right, and then we see Bruce Willis waking up in a sweat, and he's because it was a dream of him remembering what happened. And oh wait, we forgot a scene when he's actually in the ring where he's supposed to throw the fight, and
He does.
he wins the fight and he takes off, and then you hear on the radio that he killed the guy, and then this crazy cab lady jumps in her cab and races over there because she wants to meet the guy that killed a
And
man.
she has the most fakest of accents I have ever heard.
Right, Esmeralda. Esmeralda. I don't remember her whole name.
Um,
But so she's like, "You're that man, the boxer, right?" And finally he says, "Yes, I am." And then he says, "Give me a cigarette, I'll tell you all about it." Because she's like, "What's it like to kill a man?" He's like, "Well, until you just told me, I didn't know he was dead." He goes, "You ask me how I feel now? Well, I don't feel bad about it." He did say sorry, Lloyd, when he first heard that he was dead. But he figures if the guy was a better fighter and if he wasn't supposed to be throwing the fight and stuff, the guy never would have died. So he doesn't really feel that bad about it. And then she ends up dropping off at the hotel. He goes in with his I don't know, I guess it's his girlfriend or fiance or something. Um, at the hotel, and she's laying down, and he comes up and says he's gonna go take a shower. He stinks, and he goes, "I like your man stink," and he goes lays with her and touching her, and she's saying she wants a pot belly because they're sexy, and he says, "What if I have a pot belly?" And he goes, "No, it's sexy on a woman, not a man," which I disagree. I don't think it's sexy on a woman, but she says she doesn't care if it's sexy to men, just keep it to sexy. And then he says, "I'll punch you in your stomach." And she goes, "You punch me in my stomach?" And she goes, "I'll smother you in my stomach." And he goes, "Go ahead." And they're playing around, and then they take a shower, and I
And then
think,
it's about like 2 hours before like their train or
I think it switches back. Then it switches to um, the next scene. Um,
oh the next scene I believe is when apparently while Jules and Vincent are in fact interrogating Brett, there's another guy that's
in the
hiding
bath,
in the back with a gun
in the bathroom.
in the bathroom, and he comes out, shoots at them,
Die,
and
motherfuckers! It
and
shoots
they're
all
and
six shots.
Jules is like, "Hey man, we should have been dead.
Well,
This is like
you missed the part where they're looking all around. They're looking at their bodies. They're looking at each other like, what? We didn't get hit at all. Like, and that's when Jules goes the whole. He thinks it's a miracle, that it's a intervention of God, and Jules just like, basically saying he's crazy. He's like he won't even leave until Jules admits something happened. And like, okay, admit it, man. Let's get out. Can we leave now? Because the cops are coming, obviously, with all the
of course
gunshots.
they did shoot him like right after that. So
And then they take Marvin with them. And they're like, "Marvin, why did you forget to tell us that there was someone in the bathroom that had a fucking hand cannon that size? That gun was bigger than he was."
and of course the gun accidentally goes off. It explodes. His head explodes
Well,
all over
that's when
the car.
they're in the car, and he's asking him. He's talking about about the what happened, and the guy's like, "I don't even have an opinion. How can you not have an opinion?" He's like, "What?"
Spudow!
Yeah, and Jules like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know, man. Just whatever. You must hit a pump or something." "Nah, ain't no pump." And blood splattered all over the fucking place. The whole back of the car, they're covered with blood. Car's covered with fucking blood. He's like, "Man, we gotta get the hell off the road." He makes a phone call, and he calls someone, and so he's coming over, and he shows up, and you see them
Quentin
in the
Tarantino.
back. Yeah, it's the same thing where you see them in the bathroom, and that they're washing up the blood, and he's Jules is saying, this is his friend, and you got to respect him. And he's like, I understand, but he's gonna show me respect and not yell at him. I don't know, because he's all about being shown respect and shit. You know.
Oh,
Um,
you're talking about later when
no,
after
no,
the phone call that
no.
Jules has with the boss, and he says he's going to send the Mr.
No,
Wolf.
no, no, no,
Yes,
no, no. They're washing their hands first. And
I
then
know.
he gets the blood all over the blank, all over the towel.
Yes, and he argues with him about getting it on the cloth, but
Yes, yes, yes. I'm talking about Quentin Tarantino who had been bitching him. We never saw that, but you could derive what happened from the conversation. So let me go back to what I was saying. Um, so he gets blood all over the towel. He's like, motherfucker, you're gonna wash for. Oh, I did wash, but it's how to get off. Well, I use the same soap as you, and I got it all off. And he's then they see him in there in the kitchen. Jules said, let me handle all this, and Vincent finally is just standing there shutting his mouth, and they're drinking coffee, and he's saying, oh, this coffee's great. It's not the you could give us the Folgers coffee, but you gave us this gourmet shit. It's really great. And Quentin Tarantino's like, cut the shit, Jules. I don't care about the coffee. Let's talk. I want to talk about the dead nigger in my garage. And he's like, "Do you see the sign out there that says dead nigga storage?" No, I don't. Why? Because that's not my business storing dead niggas. Well, no, I'm not gonna store it. No. You gotta make some calls. My wife is gonna be home in an hour and a half. You gotta make some calls. You do it. You fix this. And that's when he calls Marcellus Wallace. And Marcellus Wallace asks the details. When's the wife's gonna be home? What's she gonna do when she freaks out? Well, of course she's gonna freak out when she gets home. Oh, he's gonna get divorced. He doesn't want to get divorced. Okay. Well, tell me that everything will be okay. And we're sending someone over, and he goes, "I'm sending the wolf over." He goes, "Oh, that makes you happy." "Oh, yes, that makes me happy." So they obviously heard of the wolf, and then we see Harvey Keitel, who is the wolf, on the other end of the phone. He's writing down all the people's names, the wife, and everything, and when she's gonna be getting home, and all the details. And he says, "Oh, it takes 30 minutes to get there. I'll be there in 10." And you see him flying down the street, pulling up
It's 9:50 something.
in his car, and he goes in, and he goes, "Oh, this gives us 40 minutes to clean the car." And then he asks, "This is a domesticated house. You must have some chemicals in the garage and cleaning stuff." Yep. So they go in, tells him to clean everything, and that Adam gets blankets and sheets to cover up the car, which will help if they uh, at first glance, if they get pulled over, I'm kind of fucked. But he doesn't want to give the good linens and stuff because it was his uncle and aunt, and they passed away. He says, they would want you to have a whole new bedroom set. Like, oh, well, your uncle Marcellus, he wanted you to have it, and he hands him some money. So we don't know exactly how much, but we figured he hands him a good amount of money for a whole new bedroom set. I'm not sure exactly what he'll tell his wife, but he has a lot of money for it. So he gets the blanket stuff. They put it. They get the car. Now it's funny. The wolf actually doesn't do anything because they do all the cleaning. And for some reason, Jules is in the back, he's complaining about picking up brain shit, and he's freaking out. He's like, "I'll never forgive you for this." And we have Vincent, who's just washing the windows and stuff. And then he's like, "Wait a minute, why am I in the back cleaning up the brain shit? The other one is shot the motherfucker. Let's switch. I'm gonna clean windows," which makes more sense to me. I mean, he did shoot the motherfucker. He should be cleaning up brains. Let's go. And so we finally get the car clean, and Harvey Keitel said, he's going to drive it. He's going to have Jules ride with him, and they're going to ride it to a place where he had called, and they're going to dispose of the body. And
I like when they
he's going
get
to
home
have Vincent to drive his car, and he says, "You can handle that." He's like, "I'm cool," you know. Because he had a little scene where, they said, "Go clean the car," and he's like, "A please would be nice," and he was like, "A please, I'm trying to help you," and blah, blah, blah. And finally he says, "Pretty please, with sugar on top. Go clean the fucking car."
But
After the little speech.
uh, eventually, during that speech, he does actually say please,
Yeah,
funnily
he finally does after he says, "Pretty please," with sugar on top. He says, uh,
enough.
and then they tell them to go outside. It's time to clean them up and strip all the way down. Is that necessary? Yes, all the way down. And they spray him with freezing cold. It's cold out, and they spray him
because
with
you
freezing cold
motherfuckers, it
water.
looks like you just splattered brains all over a car.
Yeah, yeah. They said, "I'm sure you guys have been county, as in county lockup, so they know what it's like to be sprayed down." So they're sprayed down with the cold hose, and they handed towels, and they dry off, and then they handed the ridiculous clothes that we had saw them earlier wearing. And the guy laughs says, "You guys look ridiculous," because these are your clothes, motherfucker.
You look like a bunch of dorks.
Yeah, these are your clothes, motherfucker. And then you see them. They drive the car, I guess, without incident to the um, what do you call that? Uh, Car disposal place where they're gonna get rid of the body. Oh yeah, I forgot the part. He tells Vincent if the car anything happens to the car, that they'll be burying two bodies into one. So, he threatens them, and then they show up, and you see this redhead come out with hair on his arm. She's the daughter of the guy that will inherit the whole thing eventually,
See,
and
that's what you call respect.
you know, you respect, and then he says, "I have character," and she goes, "I have character." He says, "You are a character. That doesn't mean you have character." And he's taking her out on a date, and he does offer to give them a ride, and they both say where they live, and he goes, "I look to the future, a cab ride." And yeah, go ahead. And then the next scene is, I believe, um, I think,
When Butch flips out about his grandfather's gold watch not with
yeah,
him.
he goes to his father's. Yeah, he goes to, well, he calls it his father's watch, but he's looking through the bag and he can't find the watch, and he's like, "Did you pack it?" And she's like, "Yes, I packed it. I packed it. It should be there. It should be there. It should be there." And she's like, "I believe so." "Well, what do you mean you believe so? Did you do it? Pack it or not? Didn't you pack it?" Then yes, I did pack it. "Is there a chance you might have forgotten it? Maybe." And obviously, he's like all scared, and he's like,
It was right
"Motherfucker!"
by the kangaroo.
He throws the TV, and he throws the lamps. He's over in the corner hiding. Then
You
he's like,
know.
yeah, he tries. Oh, now the Spadao, I think, is when they shoot Marvin in the face. That was definitely a Spadao.
Oh
Um,
yes.
but anyways, so then he calms down a little bit. He's like, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I should have told you how important this was, how personal this was to me, you know, and you know, really giving it to her, but this time calmly, you know, making her feel bad, but you know, not yelling at her anymore." And
But then he's bitching at her in the car on the way over.
no, no, bitched about her. She wasn't there because he left her there to go get her
Yeah,
breakfast because she was talking about getting blueberry pancakes and bacon and orange juice and coffee and all this other stuff. And
five
so he
sauces.
hands her some money and says, "Get yourself some breakfast." And then he goes and takes her car and goes back to the apartment. And he parks way away from his apartment, and he goes through these yards and hops this fence, and he's looking all around, and he quietly puts his key in the door. And he opens the door. He hops in. He runs in real quick and he's looking around. He doesn't see anybody.
Finds the gold watch.
Then he picks up the gold watch, puts it on his wrist. Then goes in the kitchen and he grabs
Finds
some
a big ass gun.
fake Pop Tarts, and he puts them in the toaster, and then he looks over. And he's like looking like, "What's this?" And he sees a big semi-machine gun with a silencer on it, and he picks it up, and then he hears a flush, and he holds it towards the bathroom. You see Vincent walking out, and he just looks at him, and Bruce Willis looks at him, and then puts about
I
six, seven
thought he was
bullets.
just sitting
Uh,
on the toilet and he just blew him away.
No, no,
oh yeah.
no. He came out.
Uh,
He had flushed the toilet. Now when he blew him away, the toaster had popped up. As soon as the toaster pops up, the toaster strudel popped up in the air. That's when he shot him. I guess to help cover the sound. Even though it was a silencer, there's still a sound. Um,
uh,
and
um,
he shoots him, and then he leaves, and he's still looking around, like, holy shit, like what just happened, you know? Lucky motherfucker, you know. Vincent character is now dead, and you know, he got really fucking lucky. Vincent was
Yeah,
stupid, leaving his gun on the counter, and you know, of course, he goes, "This time I'm gonna survive. People underestimate me," and he's pulled up to a red light, and he
and
stops
there is Marcellus
listening to
Wallace
music. He's
walking
listening
across
to
the street.
music. He's
uh,
bobbing
uh,
his head, and then all of a sudden, Marcellus Wallace is walking in front of him, and he turns, look at him, and says, "Motherfucker."
uh,
Oh,
Gun.
I forgot. There was a scene where they had told Marcellus Wallace that he didn't throw the fight, and he's like, I want a motherfucker. You know, if he goes to China, I want a motherfucker, a nigger in a soup bowl to carry to cap his ass. You find him, you go get him wherever he goes. You know, he wants him dead, because obviously he fucked him out of a ton of money, um, and. You see, anyways, you see Bruce Willis, a motherfucker, and Bruce Willis sees him, and he immediately just plows right into him, flips him
And
over the
he gets
car,
hit by a car.
and then crashes into another car, and his car goes over into a storage lot, and he's over there all bloody, and you see a bunch of women trying to help my son. Well, first they're like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. Then he opens his eyes, and then they help him up, and then he's standing. They're like, that man hit you. Where is he? Over there. And he just pulls out a gun, and they're like, ah, they scream, and there's two women helping Bruce Willis see if he's okay, and all of a sudden Wallace goes and shoots and hits one of the women right in the hip, and she falls down screaming, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" She just got shot for no fucking reason. It's fucked up. And Marcellus Wallace still shooting at him. Bruce Willis takes off, and he's running, and he ends up taking off into a pawn shop. And he's like, can I help you, fella? He's all covered in blood, of course, because of that car accident. And he's like, what are you up to? And then Marcellus Wallace comes in, and he punches him and knocks him down and gets on top of him and starts beating him. And then he pulls a gun on him, and then the cashier guy, the owner or whatever, he pulls a shotgun on him and says, "Put the gun down." Like, you don't
This is
understand.
not your business.
Put the gun down. And he eventually puts the gun down. He's like, "He's gonna kill me. I don't care. Come over to the counter. Come over here." And he cocks him with the shotgun, knocks him down. Next thing you see, they're
They're
pulling
both handcuffed.
both handcuffed and gagged, not handcuffed, tied up. They're tied
Ball
up,
game.
ball gagged. And you see there's like all kinds of sex things on the walls and stuff. And he's like, no one kills motherfuckers in my store but me and Zed.
The doorbell rings.
He calls Zed on the phone and says, Spider caught two flies. So Zed comes over, who is a security officer who's wearing
Oh,
his
by the
uniform.
way, by the way, I do have to mention this. The redhead that was right by Marcellus Wallace. She played the anonymous Peggy from The Mask. So did this guy who was playing Zed, who who shows up, the dude in the cop thing. He played Dorian in The Mask. So two characters from The Mask.
Cool.
By the way, I wanted to ask something. When you mentioned this scene when Butch shot Vincent, since this was the first time I watched the movie, I didn't understand why was Vincent in that apartment in the first place, and when
Because
Butch
he
saw him.
Because he had to kill.
signs
He was there to kill Butch. Because Butch didn't throw the fight. He won the fight instead of throwing it. So they wanted. He was going to kill. He's a hitman, so he was there to kill him. Now I was thinking, why the hell didn't Jules come with him? But I guess they decided just to send one guy there, and
I was thinking because Jules was his wingman, he should have been like around there somewhere, you know.
yeah.
Okay, and the
Anyways,
other question, when Butch saw him, why instead of first saying something like "Who the hell are you?" why was his first reaction to shoot him to death immediately?
It was kill or be killed.
yeah, it
But
was his gun there, dude. It was his
but
gun. Obviously, he was there to kill him. He knew he was there to kill him. He knew
uh,
he was there. He didn't
but
need to. He didn't need to ask like.
but how did he know that Vincent was there to kill
Because
him?
he was
Because
supposed
he
to
didn't
throw
throw
the
the
fight,
fight. He was supposed to
and he
throw the
didn't
fight, and
throw
he
the
didn't.
fight, which
Instead,
means
he put money on himself and screwed Marcellus Wallace, just like Brett tried to fuck Marcellus. Everyone likes to fuck Marcellus Wallace,
Oh,
evidently.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that was
yeah,
why
he
that
didn't want
was
to go
why
back to the apartment, but he had to get the watch. He said, well, she said, "Won't the criminals be looking for you?" He goes, "I'll find out." And yeah, they were there. Vincent was there to
oh,
kill him. But
oh.
lucky for him, Vincent was in the bathroom and left his gun on the kitchen counter, which was stupid. He should have taken it in with
That was his gun. Oh, yeah, I get it
yeah.
now.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. Anyways, what was I saying?
But Jules should have been there somewhere. That doesn't make any
That's
sense.
what I said. But maybe this was after Jules had already decided to quit, which we haven't seen yet.
quite possibly.
But it could have been after suicide to quit, and that's why he wasn't there. Um, anyways, so where was I?
We were at the part where Zed
Oh yeah,
had the
they're
phone call
tied
with
up.
Zed,
Zed rings the doorbell. It comes in and they say, "You
They-
want to do it here?"
and
And
they bring a creature out from the back room.
the gimp.
Room.
They say, "Get the gimp," and they bring. He's a human, but he's obviously fucked up. He's got all leather on. He's got his mouth is zipped up and everything. And they put him on the chain. And well, first he's going. He's sitting there like, which one am I gonna pick? And he's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch your butt, tiger, butt. So, and then he's like, he goes into some other ones, and eventually he goes to Marcellus Wallace. Like, it's a you, big man. You see him go, ooh, ooh. Like, shh. So you going to do it right here? No, look, do it in the other room. And you see him pulling back there, and then they shut the door. And Bruce Willis, you see him trying to untie himself, and he's starting to hear noises in the other room, and he finally gets free, and he just punches Gimp and knocks him the fuck out. Just knocks him out one hit. Obviously, he's a professional boxer, so he knows where to hit someone to knock him the fuck out.
He goes
So,
up to leave,
and
but
he goes to leave. Yep.
he
He
has a
goes
conscience.
upstairs. He goes to leave, and he's open the door. He's standing there, like, should I just fucking leave? Should I leave? This motherfucker wants me dead. And then he realizes, you know what? Even though he wanted me dead, I can't let him go through with whatever is happening. He's not sure what's happening, but he knows something bad is happening.
So he
And
goes and tries to
he
find a
goes,
weapon.
he goes and he picks up, first he finds a little bat, then he finds a big bat, and then he
Oh,
picks up a
the first thing
chainsaw.
was a hammer.
Oh, hammer, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Then a bat, and then he sees a chainsaw, and
Chainsaw.
then he looks up and he sees a sword. Yes, a sword. And he must have been a samurai in a former life, because boy, did he know how to use that. So he grabs the sword, he goes downstairs, he opens the door quick, slashes the guy being a cuckold, watching and masturbating to the other guy, raping Marcellus Wallace. And he slashes him, and then gets in front of him, stabs him from behind, and then he points at the other guy. The other guy tries to reach for his gun. He's like, go ahead, reach for it. I want you to reach for it, reach for it. He's telling him. Then all of a sudden,
But Marcellus gets up.
Marcellus Wallace gets up, which I'm not sure how he got untied or whatever, because obviously he had been tied down. But anyways, he somehow got untied. We don't see that, and he's holding a shotgun, and he's like, move out of the way, Butch." And Butch moves out of the way, holding the sword, and he shoots him in the dick. He immediately falls down, screaming. And he's like, "I'm not done with you, motherfucker," And then Bruce Willis is like, Butch is like,
What happens
"What
next?
happens now?" And he's like, "What happens now is I call crazy pipe hitting motherfucking niggers to come down and get some pliers and a blowtorch and show those motherfuckers some pain." And then he's like, "What about me and you? There is no after this. There ain't no me and you. Ain't no more. But two things. One, you don't tell anybody. This is nobody's business. It's between you and
Get out of
me
this house
and this slow, agonizing, both being slow, agonizing pain to a wish for death, rapist motherfucker. And two, you leave tonight. You've lost all LA privileges. You agree with that? Yes. He goes, and when you're gone, you stay gone or you be gone." And Bruce Willis says, "Okay." He says, "Now get out of here." And he goes to leave. He puts his jacket on. He's watching him for a minute, and then he leaves. He grabs the keys on the counter, which says Z on it. For Zed, he goes outside, and there's a chopper there, and he doesn't have a car anymore. She's like, "Look, I got the keys. Oh, I'm gonna take Zed's chopper because he doesn't need it anymore." And he shows up at the hotel, and he yells up to her, "Come on, hurry up! We gotta go. We're gonna be late." And she comes out, and she's like, "Where'd you get the motorcycle? It's not a motorcycle, baby. It's a chopper." "Well, where'd you get the chopper?" from Zed. Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. Um, and then
Okay, yeah,
you
that
see that he
was
starts
funny.
yelling. He starts yelling at her to hurt get on. She starts crying because she's a wimpy little bitch, and they're trying to go, and obviously they need to fucking go. But then he has to go. I'm sorry. Did you get pancakes? No, they didn't have pancakes. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, did you have a good day? Blah blah blah. Little talks to quiet her down. And finally, it's on the bike, and they take off, and you see him on the phone, and he's talking about the fight. Obviously, he bet on himself to win, and he had bet obviously a lot of all the money that Marcellus Wallace did with all the bookies, and he's gonna have a humongous payout, way bigger than he would have if he just with that money. So yeah, not only did
But
he
he also
not kill
still
the
has
fight.
the money from Marcellus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, he no, I think he bet that. I think he bet that money. I don't know. He had some money. I don't know. Anyways, he bet a lot of money, and so he's rich, and their plan is to go to the Caribbean and some other places and lay low or whatever. And oh yeah, they're gonna go to Mexico, and she goes, she don't speak Spanish, and he teaches her a little Spanish while she's brushing her teeth, and she brushes her teeth a lot. uh, yeah, and then what's the next scene? That's
It goes back to Vincent and Jules. I think
oh
they end up going to a
in the
breakfast.
diner. Now we get the full scene of the robbery, and they're still talking about the divine intervention, the miracle, and Vincent's like, I didn't see a miracle. It was just a coincidence. No, not a coincidence. What do you say?
And Vincent goes to the bathroom
Well,
while
eventually goes to the
Jules sits.
bathroom, and then they listen, all you motherfuckers, anyone you move over, everyone your heads off, and they decide to start. They go over and get he goes over and gets the manager and make sure he's not gonna be a hero, and then he gets a trash bag and he's getting the people's wallets, and she's watching people, and then he sees Jules and a fat wallet, and he walks over and he's like, put the wallet in the bag, and he puts the wallet into the bag, and then he says, now the briefcase, and he's like, no, he's just hold on, he's like, I'll give you the count of three. He's like, 1, 2, 3, and he's like, finally, okay, you win. He grabs the suitcase. He's like, open it up. He opens it up and he looks and sees the gold. Ooh, because it's heroin. Again, because he sees all the money he can get from it, or he wants to shoot some of it up. I don't know. But anyways, he sees like a golden light, and then he he's still looking at the suitcase, and the girl's like, "What is it? What is it?" Like, and he's so entranced in it that he's not paying attention. Jules grabs his arm that has the gun and puts his gun on him, and she freaks out. And she puts his gun on Jules, and she goes, "If you shoot him, I'll shoot
Tell
you."
your bitch to shut up.
Tell you, bitch, shut up. Tell her, bitch, shut up. Bitch, shut up. Honey, buddy, shut up. Tell her you love her. I love you, honey. Everything's okay. Everything's cool. Be cool. He thought we were gonna be cool. And then he's like, hold on. He's like, don't shoot him. I thought you were gonna be cool. If you yell like that, makes me nervous. Nervous motherfucker gets people shot. He goes, you shoot him, I'll shoot you. I'll kill you. That seems to be the situation.
And of course, Vincent comes out.
No, not yet, not yet. Then he starts telling them how that he tells him the verse. That's when he says the whole Ezekiel verse, and how he'd like to that he's trying. He like to be the shepherd, or that he's the evil man, and maybe he's the shepherd, and blah blah blah, and then he goes, but no, he goes, you're the weak one, and I'm the material evil man, but I'm trying real hard. He's like, and then he tells him to pull his wallet out. He goes, which wallet is yours? One that says badass motherfucker. And he looks through the bag and turns out finds a wallet that says badass motherfucker on it. Thought was great.
Take the money out.
And he
Count the
says, like,
money.
oh, count the money. How much is there? Well, 1,500, which is exactly the same amount that Vincent had. which again, don't know why, but I just thought that was funny. So he's like,
Uh,
so
uh,
he's like, that's when
Basically,
Vincent,
buying his
that's when
soul,
Vincent comes out, and then
buying
he's
his life.
like, if you give him that money, I'll pop him on principle. And she put the gun on Vincent, and Vincent is like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Jules is like, no, put the gun back on me. It's cool, Put the gun on me. Vincent, shut the fuck up. I got this. He tells him put the money in his pocket, and he's like, why are you giving him the money? He's like, I'm not giving the money. I'm paying for his life. I'm paying for his life because now I don't have to kill this motherfucker. And so he tells them to go, and yeah, they end up walking out. And oh yeah, he tells them, with the money that they got from the other customers and register, he got a pretty good payday. They got a pretty good payday.
Well, he
And
also did his
tells
big
them,
speech from the Bible too.
I already said that.
Yep.
You weren't listening. And they walked out the door, and then Drew was like, I think we should go, and Vin's like, yeah. So because they just basically didn't stop the robbery, kept it going, and they had guns too, and so they'd be just in trouble too. So they go to walk out, and they're still wearing their shorts and t-shirt at this point, and they end up putting their guns in their shorts and putting shirts over them. And I'm thinking, won't those guns fall out? I mean, those shorts are pretty loose and the guns are pretty heavy. But anyways, then what's the next scene?
I think that's the last scene.
Oh, oh yeah. Is it?
Yep. They walk out the door, and then you see the credits.
Okay.
So, at the end of everything, what did everyone think of the production? Starting with you, Boris, since we haven't heard a whole lot from you. We've heard a lot from Jules, badass motherfucker.
I haven't heard it all from Tammy, except telling me that I forgot something that I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being kind of quiet. As you know, this was the first time I watched it, and there was a lot that I didn't understand.
Well, if you got more questions, we can answer.
You understand it a little bit more?
Well, a little bit, yeah, I guess.
Hey, I thought I did great. I remember most lines. Not every line, but
Well, you ended up
yeah.
taking over hosting responsibilities, so thank you.
Yeah, it was also a little bit difficult to interrupt you
Yeah,
and
Krol, you actually
and
hosted.
I know it's not the first time.
pretty much.
I know.
I did it last week too.
But
Uh,
anything that you wanted to say about production, Boris?
Well, I do think the production was pretty good. At least that I could see even without understanding the story. Yeah, like all these effects, like when they shoot the guy in the car and everything gets
Wow.
spun out. Yeah, and when everything gets splashed with blood, that
Funny.
was pretty.
Before I watched Pulp Fiction, I was thinking about the movie and thinking about where there was spit out moments before I rewatched it. Because I know
Yeah,
the movie so well that I already knew what moments would be spit out before I even watched it.
indeed, there were some good spun outs.
Oh, there was I think that was the best one was Marvin getting shot in the face. It was just so unexpected. Well, I mean, he was holding the gun at him, but still, he was holding the gun, and there was no bump or anything. I thought there was a bump, and then so I did remember that incorrectly. There wasn't a bump. He just shot him. Don't know what the hell happened. He just shot him.
He kept bouncing. He had the gun in his hand, and he was moving his hand while he was talking.
Yeah,
And I
but
think when he was talking and moving his
I
hand while he was
I think
talking,
he involuntarily his finger moved involuntarily, probably
yeah,
muscle memory or
Yeah, because
something.
he was like talking with his
He shoots,
hands.
he shoots people all the time, so his fingers used to shooting people. So even though he didn't mean to shoot them, the muscle memory in his finger said, "Oh, you need to shoot." But yeah, is that it for production for you, Boris?
Well, there were some other good spudouts as well. Like I don't remember exactly what it was, but when Butch went to his old apartment just before he ran into Vincent, something got smashed there, and I remember saying spudau, but I can't recall exactly what it was.
Oh, I think he in the hotel, he smashed a TV and a lamp.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that was good.
When he
And
crashed a nice car.
oh, indeed.
Or when or when Butch crashed the crappy car. Or
Tammy,
crappy
what
car.
kind of kind of a classic car was that? Do you know?
I know it was a Chevy. I just didn't really get to look at it enough, but I knew it was a Chevy.
I'm
Okay.
ashamed of you not knowing. Just kidding. You knew more than I did. I didn't even know it was a Chevy. It was red. I love red.
Let's
Chevy
see.
cars.
Looking it up real quick.
I
It
love
was
production,
a
by the way.
1964 Chevy Malibu.
Ah,
What did you think about production, Tammy?
I thought it was pretty good. They shouldn't have smashed that car, but
I don't think they smashed it that bad.
evidently not, since he supposedly was driving it later.
Yeah, I mean, he just smashed. I think he just smashed into some trash cans. I mean, he ran over the lawn and smashed some trash cans or something, or some lawn
It
gnomes or something.
sounded worse than I guess it was supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. I just sound like trash
So
cans.
the Chevy was in fact Quentin Tarantino's personal vehicle.
Oh no!
Evidently, he purchased the
Ooh.
car from a friend back in 1989 after selling the scripts for True Romance, but he kept
Oh
it
shit!
in storage and never drove it. Not and there were things from Romance that were not used in the script that were used for Pulp Fiction. Some of the scenes in here were in fact from True Romance that weren't used because another director had actually directed True Romance. But you can definitely tell that Quentin Tarantino's mark is on True Romance as a film. So, um, not only that, the 1964 Chevelle was well documented, so it wasn't located several years later. Some concluded it must have been chopped up and the parts sold.
No.
Evidently, what most people don't know about this movie is that it was stolen right off the Pulp Fiction movie set back in 1994.
Wow!
So it was a brazen crime considering there surely had to be security present. So in 2013, news broke that the famous Chevelle Malibu had been found after it was missing for 19 years. Initial reports detailed that the car had been located by a Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy on April 18th. In Victorville, California, two men were reported stripping it when the deputy ran the VIN and found it was registered to a different vehicle in Oakland. A conflicting report claims the deputy just saw the car in a driveway. Either way, the fact it was located just like that is pretty amazing.
Interesting, you did.
So, an investigation found the VIN on the dash was cloned, matching a car registered in Oakland. That's when they looked at the VIN stamped into the Victorville car's frame, and authorities learned the Chevrolet was Tarantino's. So, while the car was found, the mystery of what happened to it during those 19 years still needed to be answered. The police were determined the man who had the car wasn't involved with the theft in any way. Unfortunately, he lost a vehicle that wasn't legally his after spending thousands of dollars sprucing it up, repainting it, installing a new top, redoing the upholstery, etc.
Oh,
That's the
that
thing with
sucks.
crimes like VIN cloning is usually there's more than one victim. The guy
That,
who
that,
had
that,
Tarantino's Chevy Malibu, Bill Jimenez, wasn't exactly trying to hide the vehicle. He drove it around to different car shows in California, proudly displaying it for anyone to admire. Originally, the man bought it from a private seller in 2001, so to find out the car had been stolen was a shock. According to Hernandez, the Malibu was in sad shape when he bought it. There's a strong possibility it had passed through a few different hands after it was stolen, but the ride obviously hadn't received the kind of care it deserved. Adding insult to injury, even though Hernandez had the car for 12 years and lovingly restored it, he not only lost the Chevy, he also wasn't provided any compensation for the vehicle, any of the restoration costs, or the insurance paid on it. That's an unfortunate truth of buying a stolen car, but even more insulting was the fact that he said Tarantino never reached out to him in any way. Of course, the famous Hollywood movie director is under no legal obligation to even thank the man for taking good care of his vehicle, but some feel he morally should at
oh,
least
definitely should have. He should have
send
given some
a
money
kind
for it too.
note, considering that was over 7 years ago. It seems like if Tarantino was going to do it, that would have already happened.
That's
So,
fucked up. He should have definitely, and he should have gave him some money for that he lost. Tarantino could certainly afford it. Not the guy's fault. He didn't know he fucking was buying a stolen car.
well,
Yeah.
regardless, I guess I didn't know anything about that involved in the movie. Did any of you?
Nope.
No.
I guess that's kind of a strange thing to happen. But I really like
It was Vincent Vega's ghost.
I really like the 50s diner stuff. I actually, if I were anywhere near that restaurant, I would love to go and eat at it if it were real. You know, um,
Oh
Which one?
yeah,
Jack
I
Rabbit?
would love to
Jack
have
Rabbit?
checked out that restaurant. That would
You
have
it
been
talking about
kind of
Jack
fun.
Rabbit?
reminds it kind of reminds me of a diner that used to be here.
Are you talking about Jack Rabbit's diner, or are you talking
Yeah,
about the?
Jack Rabbit's Diner. Yeah.
Oh, that was a
Yeah, there was
restaurant.
something downtown. Here, there was
Well,
something like
Mel's Diner was set up like a 1950s like place. I mean, it wasn't like where you could like um uh sit in a car and eat at a table inside of a 1950s car.
I got one better. When I was in Washington, in Olympia, there's a restaurant I went into that was set up in like the '80s, playing '80s music, had video games, had Pac-Man at the table. You know, remember the table that was Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man? You know, your table was the video game while you eat and stuff. Yeah, yeah,
There used to
those
be
80s.
yeah, there used to be called what was the Solid Gold McDonald's up on 76th Street as well, where they had it all like um
1950s.
decked out to the nines, like in 1950s memorabilia and stuff like that. And McDonald's decided to renovate it and sell off the shit to get money.
which stuff
And
because that was a really cool McDonald's.
Why? Why would they do that?
well, I can say this. Remember all that hamburger burglar stuff that McDonald's used to have? All
Yeah.
the hamburglar, the little
Grim,
dude. Yeah. Oh,
Grimace and Hamburglar
yeah.
Grimace. And
Well,
Happy Dog.
apparently, some years back, there was a show back in the 50s that they stole the ideas for this Hamburglar dude from, and they were sued the hell out of from the show. I forget exactly what it was called per se, but I think that might have been something to do with why they had to renovate and get rid of some shit. They needed money and money fast because
I
they were.
can't imagine 1 billion Serb needed money.
But there was a lot of cool stuff in that McDonald's. I remember the auction happening, and then when they revamped it and turned it into just any old regular McDonald's. I haven't really been back to that.
Well, why would you? McDonald's sucks. Burger King's way better.
What?
Burger King is way better.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I like Burger King, but I also like McDonald's. I like McDonald's double quarter pounders.
Their triple quarter pounders can hit the spot. But,
I like Hardee's the best.
No, A&W is the best.
I like Hardee's the best myself too.
Have you ever had A&W?
I have had A&W, but once the A&Ws closed down, then A&W wasn't the thing anymore. The only
Well, they haven't closed down. They haven't closed down, so they're still.
Well, they closed down the locations that were cool here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they closed a few
if it's
here,
not
but
even in driving distance, then it's not even cool.
It doesn't matter. It's still the best.
Do
If
you
one exists in the world, it's still the best.
do you realize that you are arguing about hamburgers like those guys in the movie?
Well, they
Do you
ain't
have
argue
any?
about. They ain't argue about them.
Boris, do you have
I
any
know.
other
I
hot
know.
sauce?
Do you have any hamburger places in your country?
We
Yeah.
Well, we do have McDonald's, although I believe there are some things that you have in your McDonald's that we don't have here. I think we also do have Burger King, and we have some Croatian ones as well.
Well, at least you have some hamburger joints to go to. I mean, that's at least.
Now you people are making me want a hamburger. Damn it!
I
I want a fucking fat double whopper, cheese and extra bacon.
If I had to choose, the best burger that I've had here in Milwaukee is a place that's only open during the summer, and it's called Night Owl. And
What?
it's called Night Owl. It's been around for.
Hey, that's my name.
Yep. It's been around. How many years has it been around, Tammy?
Oh, geez, it's been around for at least 50 years. It's a little. The inside even looks like
used
an
to
old
be an
time
auto
ice
place.
cream ice cream parlor type of thing, you know. That's
I know they put on car shows like every year,
well,
dealing with like
but their
cars from
car
like the
show is for
1930s and
vintage.
40s.
Yeah, their car show is for vintage cars. You know, which mine isn't old enough for that.
But their burgers are like.
And their burgers are real burgers. They buy the meat that day, and when it runs out, it runs out. So if they say they're open till 7 o'clock, but the meat runs out at 6, they close at 6.
Yep. Which we ought to get one of these days. I don't think we've had one this year yet, or have we?
I don't think so.
But in any case,
but it's an ice cream parlor too. They're known for their shakes and ice cream and stuff.
So it's cool, but let's go in. What did you think about production, Tammy?
You already went to me.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, it's my turn.
Then how about you, Jules? What did you think of your badass self?
Well, I thought the production was pretty fucking awesome. Um, everything was great. That '50s restaurant did seem fun and something that I wouldn't mind going into myself. Yeah, it was yeah, it really made it feel like it was lived in, like all the places were lived in, and the pawn shop was a real business, and it made me wonder like how they got other people. They obviously had done this before, what they had done to Marcel as well as and trying to do to Butch. So I was just wondering kind of wondering how they caught other people. Um, it's pretty fucked up, One guy watches the other one rape another guy in the ass. It's pretty fucked up.
He literally got fucked like a bitch.
He did. Like I said, everyone likes to fuck him like a bitch.
Yeah, earlier they asked, does he look like he wants to be fucked like a bitch
Yeah, I
or
remember.
something like that? And
Yes,
then
he said
it
it to
kind
Brett.
of,
Does he look like a bitch? Does he want to be fucked like a bitch?
yeah,
Mr.
and
Wallace doesn't
then
like being fucked by anyone but Miss Wallace.
it kind of literally happened.
Yep. But yeah, the production was just spot on. Everything was great. Even the driving scenes, I didn't really pay attention to the, fact that they weren't real. I mean, obviously they're not real, but I thought they did a great job with it, especially for the '90s. Yeah, so everything was fucking awesome. That's my take on that.
I think the reason why I haven't really liked Burger King lately is because the last couple of times I've tried to go there to two different locations here in Milwaukee on this side of town, they were closed at 5 o'clock because they were like they didn't have like what we wanted, you know, and right, Tammy? I mean, the last two times I tried to go, and
Well, you went to the one and it was closed like 20 minutes before it was supposed to be, and then the other one ran out ran out of what we wanted. I've been disappointed because the one kept screwing up our order, so I went to the other one and it was doing in my order, and the other one was doing fine, and then that one kept screwing it up. I mean, how hard is it to make a Whopper with cheese, no onion, and extra mayo? How hard? Burger King is their logo is "Have it your way." That's the way I want it. They sure don't make it "Have it your way" anymore. They fuck it up every time.
yep. So that is why I haven't.
Okay, so the issue isn't Burger King. The issue is the fucking stupid employees at Burger King.
I don't think there are many employees for the Burger Kings in our uh,
It
area.
doesn't matter how many there are; they're idiots.
But
And I totally get that.
and uh, I think that's why we haven't really gone as of lately. So, but in any case,
I mean, around
production.
here we get idiots at McDonald's and Burger King. So
Well,
as
my big
far as
thing
that
is
goes,
I don't I don't like raw onions on anything.
who the
Okay, I
fuck
don't
does?
like it on subs. I don't like them on burgers. I like onion rings, but I don't like raw onions
Oh,
on
onion rings,
sandwiches.
I love that.
I like onion rings. I like onions on my pizza from one place only. I like sautéed onions on my steak. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like onions on
Well,
pizza
that's what I
just
hate about
fine.
McDonald's is McDonald's has a bunch of those little fucking onions on them. Like
The on the
you can't even
little
take those onions off. So if
the
they
little
fuck up
ones.
and don't take the onions off, you can't even take those fuckers off.
No. The little ones that are on like the little cheeseburgers and stuff. That's fine. I'm talking about like
No, it's not fine. It's
if
gross.
you order a quarter pounder, it comes with those
I
big
know.
slices of
I know
onion.
it's
I
Real
don't
big.
want
men
that.
eat
But
raw
at least you
onion.
can take those onions off. You can take
Real
those on
men
your
It
eat
still
raw
gives you a taste. Yeah.
onions.
Why are you squabbling so much?
Well, any case, I thought production was pretty good. I mean, once you understand like the order of where things happen and when, um, and get that down, then you can actually look at the set design and see that the various different places were like spot on for what was needed for.
Yeah. I expect a full report when you watch this movie a second time there, Boris.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I expect a full report when you watch this a second time.
Oh, okay.
But uh, I thought the music was pretty good too.
Oh, the music is great.
Oh, it did.
I
Someday
thought
you'll be a woman.
yeah, I was really liking that soundtrack track. See what's
It was very good.
the soundtrack has Mr. Lou performed by Dick Dale and his Deltones. It's country, uh, Jungle Boogie,
Jungle Boogie.
Cool and the Gang, which is the only other song that I know by Cool and the Gang so far. Strawberry Letter number 23, which was performed by Brothers Johnson. Bustin' Surfboards, performed by the Tornadoes. Let's Stay Together, performed by Al Green. Son of a Preacher Man, performed by Dusty Springfield. Bullwinkle Part 2, performed by the Centurions. Waitin' in School, performed by Gary Sherrill. Lonesome Town, performed by Ricky Nelson. Ace of Spades, performed by Link Ray. Rumble, performed by Link Ray and his Raymond. Since I First Met You, performed by the Robins. Teenagers in Love, performed by Woody Thorne. You Can Never Tell by Chuck Berry. Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, performed by Urge Overkill. If Love is a Red Dress, Hang Me in Rags, performed by Maria McKay. Flowers on the Wall, performed by the Statler Brothers. Out of Limits, performed by the Marquettes. Surf Rider, performed by the Lively Ones. Comanche, performed by the Rebels. And Ol being music by David Snell. So I liked the soundtrack to it. Now we'll go into our favorite scenes. So, starting with you, Krol, why don't you? If there was a favorite scene and favorite character, what would it be?
Well, favorite character I think is obvious, Jules. Jules is he's a badass motherfucker. He's got the best lines in the whole movie. Like just about every line he has is great. Vincent has a couple too, but Jules has most of it, and he just I mean, all the actors are fucking phenomenal. So I can't just say Samuel Jackson is awesome. But Samuel Jackson is awesome. So yeah, he pulled that shit off, and it was awesome. As far as scenes, there's so many good scenes. But when I think of this movie, I always think of the Brett scene, the whole interaction of does he look like a bitch? What does he look like? What? Shooting him in the shoulder, and then into the Ezekiel thing. I just love that. Absolutely love it, and it It's just such a great scene. And oh, one thing I actually forgot to mention after he tells the thief in the diner, um, about the Ezekiel, he says, he actually never gave much thought what it meant. He just thought it was some fucked up shit to say to a motherfucker before he put a cap in his ass, which was another great fucking line. But anyways, yeah, I have to say that's my favorite scene right there. Um, it just so fucking great right there. Definitely, definitely. And then the motherfucking rapist getting shot in the dick because he really fucking deserved it. And that was a spit out. That was a great spit out. And that was a
Spit
well
out.
deserved. That was a well deserved spit out. You really want this motherfucker, even if you don't. Even Marcellus Wallace being what he was, no motherfucker should be raped like that and done in like that. Like that should not. Just yeah. Um.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm glad he got his.
alrighty. Heading over to you, Boris. Is if there was a favorite scene or favorite character, what would it be?
Oh, favorite character, maybe Mia, because I like Uma Thurman. I especially liked her as Poison Ivy, and yeah, okay, maybe I'm a little bit biased because of that. But aside from that, maybe I liked Butch because he was involved in quite several spoodaus. Uh, Now, favorite scenes. Uh, I did like the scene with Butch as a kid when he was hearing all that stuff about the watch. That was morbidly hilarious. And of course, all the spoodouts, like when they shoot the guy in the car, and when Mia overdosed, and Vincent rushes her to this guy's house, and they crash the car, and scenes like that mostly.
Okay.
See, even though you didn't understand the movie completely, you still got enjoyment from the scenes, and that's what happened to me too. First time I saw it, I didn't get
Uh,
it, but I did enjoy
yeah,
it.
it did have its good moments. Oh, and when Jules messed up the rubber, that was good too. He managed to turn the situation to his favor in spite of uh, there being two people with guns against him. That was interesting, I must admit.
What
Well,
about you?
they made Rob stuff, but he's a professional.
What about you? What about you, Tammy? Favorite scene or scenes and favorite character?
Well, my favorite character is Jules. I like Samuel L. Jackson, so
Why? Thank you.
I've liked him in lots of other movies too. So I just he's one of my favorites. So I think pulls off the character very well.
Mace
My
fucking
favorite
Windows.
my favorite scene though is I think that restaurant. I just got a kick out of that restaurant. I thought it was so fucking cool. I wish there was something like that here. I definitely would want to go to it. I'd be there like all the time.
Yeah, I have to say that that restaurant is a favorite scene of mine because I do like the era of the 1950s. There was a little bit of a classic style around that time, so I guess I did like all the cool references that were in that scene of all the different actresses, singers, and actors. I mean, they even did the whole blowing up Marilyn Monroe's dress scene, which kind of reminded me of that one that Marilyn
Some like it hot.
huh?
Some like it hot.
Well, you know the guy who plays the Green Goblin in Spider-Man. Well, Marilyn Monroe turns into him,
Willem
or
Dafoe.
or or he turns into Marilyn Monroe in the end, or something like that. And he's wearing the dress, and it's an advertisement, a commercial. But
What is it, Milky
um,
Way?
yeah, I think
Not
so.
really way. Snickers, I think it is.
Snickers. Yeah.
I haven't seen that commercial, but I know their type of commercial.
But in any case, favorites. I do like the Christopher Walken moment. I mean, the fact that he says "up his ass" like twice made me laugh. In front of the
It's all rap.
kid, it did. Um, it was morbidly, as Boris said, morbidly funny. Um, and I guess I like the like when Butch takes the samurai sword down, and he's got that stance, and you know
Like I
he
said, he was a
flashes the
motherfucking
dude, and
samurai.
then does a whole kung fu moment. You know,
Samurai.
I would say kung fu because I've seen
Of
I've
course you
seen
say kung fu because you don't know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about. Haven't you
No.
ever seen the television series Kung Fu?
Oh, the
Happens
one that
all
was
the time
stolen
on
from
the show.
The one that was stolen from Bruce Lee? No.
No, it wasn't stolen from
Yes,
Bruce
it
Lee.
was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was his idea. He was supposed to star in it, and instead they got James Carey. Mr. Choke and Masturbate.
In any case, moving on. Favorite character, I would have to say. I'm going to have to say Harvey Carter's character, Mr. Wolf. Um, even though I like Jules, I liked Harvey Cartel's character in this movie. The fact that he was so matter of fact and had to do everything under 40 minutes.
But he ain't actually doing anything. He talked that much
Exactly.
shit.
I mean, I would love to be not able to do anything and get paid for it.
And they thanked him, like, thank you. And I'm thinking, he didn't really do much. Well, I mean, he did. He did drive the car and get a place for them to dispose
He
it.
drove the
But
car, ordered
but
them around.
as far as cleaning the car, they did all the work.
Well,
They
they should.
created the mess. Why not?
Exactly.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying he didn't really do a lot.
He
No, he
made
just told
sure
them.
that
He
everything
just
was done
told
in
them
an
what to
orderly
do and
fashion.
took care of it.
Yep. He was there to take care of it, and he did. But in any case, is there anything else that anyone wanted to say about the film before we end our discussion here? Alrighty. Then I guess there's our discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed the movie. Let us know down in the comments whether you enjoyed the specific scenes that we've mentioned here. And if you haven't seen the movie, go out and see it. It's something to behold. And hopefully we'll have another discussion for you. I believe I have chosen the movie well. It will be called Badass Monster Killer, movie from 2015. So hopefully you'll return to us, and we'll have a blast once more. So everyone,
Sounds like a movie Mo would have on his Soccerholic.
but in any case, everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.